Have you ever wondered if a man likes you but never says it out loud? Maybe he acts distant, yet something in his actions makes you question if there's more to it. The truth is, no matter how much a man tries to hide it, his body and subconscious behaviors will always reveal the truth. But from a Buddhist mindfulness perspective, attraction is not just about romance or emotions. It is about energy, connection, and awareness. In this video, we'll explore 15 clear signs a man is into you, but we'll go beyond the surface. We'll discuss what these behaviors mean in the broader spectrum of human connection and mindfulness. At the end of this video, you'll have a deeper understanding of how attraction works, how to read signs accurately, and most importantly, how to cultivate relationships with wisdom and mindfulness. So stay with me till the end. This is not just about flirting, it's about understanding the unspoken energies in human connections. And if you enjoy this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insightful videos from Buddhist Mindfulness. Number 1, his eyes always find you, a deeper reflection on attraction and awareness. They say the eyes are the window to the soul, but in Buddhist teachings, the eyes also serve as mirrors of one's inner awareness. They do not just reveal what one sees, they reveal where one's heart and mind are focused. If a man is genuinely drawn to you, his eyes will seek you out, even when he is unaware of it. This is because energy follows attention. Imagine being in a meditation retreat. The room is silent, filled with the soft sound of deep breaths and the occasional rustle of fabric as someone shifts position. Among the many faces, there is one person you admire, perhaps for their kindness, their wisdom, or simply an unexplainable feeling that draws you toward them. Without realizing it, your eyes keep drifting in their direction. Even when you try to focus on your own meditation, you find yourself subtly aware of their presence. This unconscious pull happens in romantic attraction as well. When someone is deeply interested in you, their gaze lingers, their eyes seek you out even in a crowded room. It's not just about physical attraction, it's about resonance. Their awareness is tuned to your presence, just as a meditator tunes into their breath. In Buddhist philosophy, this phenomenon can be understood as a form of dependent origination, pratityasamutpad, the idea that all things arise because of interconnected causes and conditions. Just as a river flows towards the ocean naturally, without force, the gaze of an interested person finds you without conscious effort. There's a difference between a fleeting glance and an intentional, deep look. A superficial glance is momentary, like a leaf floating on water. But when someone is truly drawn to you, their gaze carries a different energy, one of curiosity, admiration, and presence. It is as if they are seeing not just your outward appearance, but sensing something deeper. This can be a reflection of mindfulness in relationships. When a person is truly present with you, their attention does not wander easily. In daily life, we often engage in conversations while distracted, scrolling through a phone, thinking about the next task, or lost in mental chatter. But when someone is captivated by you, their attention remains steady. Their eyes return to you because their awareness is drawn to the connection. Much like a monk who has trained their mind to return to the present moment, no matter how many times it drifts away. However, Buddhist teachings remind us that attraction through the eyes, like all things, is impermanent. Today, someone may look at you with admiration. Tomorrow, their gaze may be elsewhere. Just as the seasons change and the waves of the ocean rise and fall, human emotions and attractions are also in a state of constant flux. The key is to observe without attachment. If someone's eyes find you repeatedly, enjoy the moment, but do not become entangled in the need for it to last forever. This is where suffering arises, when we grasp onto what is meant to flow naturally. Instead, practice mindful awareness. Recognize that attention, like all things, comes and goes. Cherish the present, but remain free from clinging. Rather than seeing repeated glances as a sign of validation, view them as an opportunity to practice presence. If you feel drawn to someone, notice your own response. Do you feel excitement, nervousness, or a desire for reciprocation? Instead of reacting automatically, observe your emotions like a witness. If you notice someone looking at you often, rather than immediately interpreting it as love, interest, or something deeper, simply acknowledge it without judgment. Smile if you feel like it, but do not let the gaze define your sense of worth. True self awareness means understanding that while human connections are beautiful, they are also impermanent. Ultimately, when someone's eyes always find you, it is a reminder to remain present. Their attention may be here today, gone tomorrow, but the only thing that truly matters is this moment. As the Buddha taught, all things arise and pass away. The wisest path is to observe, appreciate, and let go. Number two, he mirrors your movements. In Buddhist teachings, we often speak of interconnectedness, the idea that we are not separate beings, but rather threads woven into the same fabric of existence. When we truly connect with someone, whether consciously or unconsciously, we begin to reflect aspects of them. One of the most fascinating ways this manifests in human interaction is through mirroring. Mirroring is a subconscious behavior in which one person subtly imitates the body language, speech patterns, or gestures of another. Psychologists recognize it as a sign of rapport and emotional connection. In the realm of attraction, mirroring can be a powerful indicator that someone feels a deep, unspoken resonance with you. If a man copies your gestures, crossing his arms when you do, leaning in when you lean, or taking a sip of his drink right after you, it often signals a subconscious desire for connection and harmony. Psychologists have long studied mirroring as a natural social bonding mechanism. This phenomenon is rooted in the function of mirror neurons, specialized brain cells that activate both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing the same action. These neurons play a crucial role in empathy and social interaction. They help us tune in to others, making us feel more connected. In relationships, mirroring serves as a nonverbal way to establish rapport and trust. It is why close friends and romantic partners often develop similar habits, mannerisms, and even speech patterns over time. When someone mirrors your actions, it suggests they feel at ease with you and are unconsciously aligning their energy with yours. I once attended a Zen meditation retreat where a monk taught a fascinating exercise on connection and presence. The exercise was simple. Sit across from a partner and focus only on breathing in sync with them. No words, no gestures, just silent attunement to each other's breath. At first, it felt awkward, but as the minutes passed, a profound sense of harmony emerged. Without speaking, we felt deeply connected, as if we had entered a shared state of mindfulness. This exercise reminded me of the power of mirroring in everyday life. When someone subtly reflects our movements, they are, in a way, breathing with us, matching our rhythm, attuning to our energy. It's an unspoken acknowledgement of connection, just as in the silent breathing exercise at the retreat. In Buddhist practice, we learn to observe the world without clinging to it. This principle applies beautifully to recognizing mirroring in relationships. If you notice someone subtly reflecting your movements, take a mindful approach. Observe without judgment. Instead of overanalyzing, simply notice the behavior as you would observe a cloud drifting across the sky. Look for consistency. A single instance of mirroring may be coincidental, but repeated patterns suggest genuine connection. Stay present. Enjoy the moment of connection rather than attaching expectations or assumptions about the other person's feelings. Mirroring at its core is not just about attraction, it is about resonance. When two people are aligned, whether through breath, energy, or movement, they share something deeper than words. Instead of rushing to conclusions, embrace the moment as it unfolds, just as we do in mindfulness practice. Whether in romance, friendship, or simple human interaction, the act of mirroring is a reminder that we are never truly separate. We are always reflecting and being reflected in the presence of others. Number 3, his voice gets deeper around you, a sign of attraction and connection. When a man is interested in someone, his voice naturally becomes deeper, smoother, and more resonant. This is not just a random occurrence. It's rooted in both science and spiritual wisdom. While biological studies suggest that men instinctively lower their voices to appear more attractive and dominant, Buddhism offers a deeper perspective. Speech carries energy, and the way we speak reflects our inner state. Research in psychology and human behavior has shown that men unconsciously alter their voices when speaking to someone they are attracted to. A deeper voice can signal confidence, masculinity, and emotional stability, all of which are qualities that can draw others in. This phenomenon is linked to hormonal responses, particularly the influence of testosterone, which modulates pitch and vocal tone. However, beyond mere attraction, voice modulation can also be a sign of emotional closeness. When a man feels comfortable with someone, his voice may slow down and soften, creating an intimate and reassuring tone. This is not an act of manipulation, but a natural response to the presence of someone he values and trusts. Buddhism teaches that speech is one of the most powerful ways we interact with the world. Words are not just sounds, they are energy in motion. In the Noble Eightfold Path, right speech, sammasa, is emphasized as a way to cultivate wisdom and compassion. This principle reminds us to be mindful of how we speak and to recognize the energy behind our words. A person's voice is influenced by their emotional and spiritual state. When a man's voice deepens in your presence, it might not only be due to attraction, but also because he feels a deep sense of relaxation and connection. The change in tone signifies more than just physical interest. It can reflect a moment of genuine presence, where the person feels safe and unguarded. There was once a revered Buddhist teacher who always spoke with a soft, calm tone when addressing his students. His words carried wisdom, and his voice conveyed peace. However, those closest to him noticed that when he spoke with his most devoted disciples, his voice would naturally deepen. One day, a student asked, "Master, why does your voice change when you speak to us?" The teacher smiled and replied, "When I teach, I aim to offer clarity, so my voice remains light and gentle. But when I am with those who walk the path with me closely, my voice settles into its natural state. It is not a sign of authority, but of comfort and trust." Attraction and connection work in the same way. A deep voice is not just about impressing someone, it is a sign that a person feels at ease, allowing their natural self to emerge. If you notice a man's voice becoming deeper when he speaks to you, consider these possibilities. He feels attracted to you. His body naturally responds to your presence, lowering his voice as a way to subconsciously signal interest. He trusts you. A deeper tone can be a sign of emotional safety and openness. He wants to connect. When someone slows their speech and speaks in a richer tone, it often means they want you to truly hear and understand them. In Buddhism, we are encouraged to practice mindful listening. Instead of just hearing words, we should pay attention to their tone, rhythm, and energy. A person's voice carries their true feelings, sometimes even more than their words. The next time you're in conversation, notice how someone's voice changes around you. If his voice deepens, it might not just be a biological response. It could be a spiritual signal of connection, comfort, and presence. Number 4, he finds excuses to touch you. The deeper meaning behind physical contact. In Buddhism, physical touch is more than just a simple gesture. It is an exchange of energy, a silent communication that reveals intentions, emotions, and connection. Every touch carries a meaning, whether it is an unconscious expression of care or a deliberate act of attraction. If a man finds ways to initiate physical contact with you, whether by brushing against your arm, adjusting a loose strand of your hair, or offering a reassuring pat on the back, it is often a clear sign of interest. However, not all touches are the same, and it is essential to recognize the difference between genuine affection and forced interactions. When someone is drawn to you, they often seek ways to bridge the physical distance between you and them. This can manifest in small, seemingly casual gestures, lightly touching your hand when sharing a joke, placing a guiding hand on your back as you walk, brushing lint off your clothes, playfully nudging your arm during a conversation. These actions, while subtle, are often subconscious ways of expressing attraction and testing your comfort with their presence. In Buddhist mindfulness, such moments can be viewed as energetic exchanges, expressions of warmth, connection, or even desire. In any interaction, awareness is key. Not all touches stem from positive intentions, and not all physical contact is welcome. To navigate this wisely, ask yourself, does this touch feel natural and respectful, or does it feel forced and calculated? Does his body language align with kindness and care, or does it carry an underlying sense of control? How do you feel when he touches you, safe and valued, or uncomfortable and pressured? In Buddhism, the concept of right intention, samma sankappa, is central to ethical relationships. A touch that arises from genuine care and affection aligns with right intention, while a touch driven by possessiveness or control does not. Attraction should never override respect. Attraction and chemistry can create a strong pull toward physical closeness, but respect should always come first. A person who truly values you will not push past your boundaries or use physical touch to manipulate or pressure you. Instead, they will be attuned to your comfort level, reading your reactions and ensuring that any contact is mutual and welcomed. Healthy, meaningful touch strengthens relationships when it arises from a place of genuine connection. If a man is respectful, he will not only find excuses to touch you, but will also respect your cues and boundaries. If someone's touch feels uncomfortable or unwelcome, it is important to assert your boundaries with clarity and confidence. This can be done through body language, stepping back, shifting away, or through direct verbal communication, such as, "I prefer personal space. Please don't touch my hair. I'm not comfortable with that." A person with good intentions will immediately respect your response, while someone with less honorable motives may try to dismiss or ignore it. Paying attention to how they react to your boundaries can provide insight into their true character. In many spiritual traditions, including Buddhism, physical touch is seen as a form of connection that should be approached with mindfulness. In Buddhist teachings, physical contact is often discussed in relation to the concept of upadana, attachment, and clinging. If touch is used as a way to control or claim ownership over someone, it creates unhealthy attachment. However, when it arises from a place of genuine affection, it fosters warmth and trust. A mindful approach to touch means being aware of both your own intentions and those of others. When physical touch is exchanged with sincerity, it can deepen bonds. But when it is used manipulatively, it can create discomfort and emotional harm. Physical touch is a powerful language of human connection, but it is also one that requires mindfulness. If a man finds excuses to touch you, consider the intention behind it. Does it come from a place of warmth and respect, or does it feel intrusive and unwelcome? By practicing awareness and listening to your inner intuition, you can discern whether a touch is an expression of genuine affection or something that crosses a boundary. Attraction is a natural and beautiful part of human relationships, but respect should always come first. Number 5, he leans in when you speak. Leaning in is a subconscious way of saying, "I want to be closer to you." It's a physical cue that suggests interest, attentiveness, and a desire for deeper connection. When someone leans in while you speak, it often means they are fully engaged with your words and want to be near you, even if they don't realize it. Imagine sitting across from someone at a coffee shop, sharing a personal story. If they lean in slightly, maintaining eye contact, it signals they are genuinely interested. Their body language says, "I'm here with you, I hear you, and I value what you're saying." On the other hand, if they sit back, cross their arms, or frequently glance at their phone, it might indicate disinterest or distraction. This isn't just about romantic relationships. Think about a time when you were captivated by a storyteller, perhaps a friend, a mentor, or even a stranger sharing something profound. You likely found yourself naturally leaning in, eager to catch every word. This subtle physical movement is a fundamental part of human connection. In romantic settings, leaning in can be a sign of attraction and emotional engagement. A man who consistently leans in when you speak is signaling that he wants to be close, not just physically, but emotionally. It's an unspoken way of saying, "I feel connected to you." However, there's an important distinction to make. Some men may lean in as a way of showing temporary interest, but without true emotional depth. They may enjoy the excitement of the moment, but avoid deeper conversations about feelings, values, or long-term intentions. If you notice this pattern, it's worth asking yourself whether this connection is truly meaningful or just a fleeting attraction. In Buddhism, physical closeness should reflect emotional and spiritual closeness. True connection is not measured by how near someone sits, but by how open they are to sharing their inner world. A relationship built on mindfulness and authenticity will feel peaceful, whereas a shallow connection, even with physical intimacy, will eventually leave a sense of emptiness. The Buddha taught that attachment to surface-level pleasures leads to suffering. If a man leans in but does not engage in deep, meaningful conversations, ask yourself, is this relationship bringing me inner peace and growth? Or is it merely fulfilling a temporary desire for validation and attention? Mindfulness in relationships means observing not just words and actions, but also the deeper intentions behind them. If someone truly values you, they will lean in not just physically, but emotionally. They will listen with patience, share with honesty, and seek a relationship that nurtures both your hearts. Practical Mindful Approach 1. Observe body language. Holistically, leaning in is a good sign, but it should align with other positive behaviors. Consistent eye contact, engaged listening, and genuine curiosity about your thoughts and feelings. 2. Pay attention to emotional depth. Does he remember the small details you share? Does he ask meaningful questions? Does he express his own feelings openly? These signs indicate real emotional investment. 3. Trust your inner wisdom. If you sense that someone's interest is only surface level, trust your intuition. A meaningful relationship should feel balanced, nourishing, and free from confusion. 4. Cultivate presence in conversations. Instead of analyzing his actions too much, focus on being present in the conversation. When you engage with mindfulness, you naturally attract connections that align with your true self. In the end, physical closeness without emotional depth is like a flower without roots. It may look beautiful for a moment, but it will not last. Seek the kind of connection that leans in not just with the body, but with the heart and soul. Number 6, his pupils dilate when he looks at you. Science tells us that when a person is attracted to someone, their pupils naturally dilate due to the release of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and excitement. This is an unconscious biological reaction reflecting the body's response to deep interest or emotional arousal. However, from a Buddhist perspective, the eyes are not just passive receptors of light. They are windows to the mind, revealing the deeper emotions and attachments within. Dopamine plays a crucial role in motivation, reward, and pleasure. When someone sees something or someone they deeply admire or love, their nervous system responds by releasing dopamine, which in turn affects the autonomic nervous system, leading to pupil dilation. This reaction is involuntary, meaning that no one can consciously control it. It is one of the subtle ways our body communicates what we feel inside before we even put it into words. Pupil dilation is not just about attraction. It can also be linked to deep emotional connection, heightened focus, and even feelings of awe. Studies have shown that when people look at something they find fascinating or beautiful, whether it be a piece of art, a breathtaking landscape, or a loved one, their pupils tend to dilate. This involuntary response reveals an internal state of engagement and appreciation. In Buddhist philosophy, the eyes are more than just sensory organs. They are direct channels to the mind and spirit. They reveal truths that words often fail to express. Monks in deep meditation often experience a noticeable shift in their gaze, softer, more open, and deeply serene. This is because in these moments their mind is fully present, undistracted by desires, attachments, or external disturbances. Similarly, when a man's pupils dilate while looking at you, it may not only be a sign of attraction, but also a reflection of his internal state, his emotional presence, admiration, or even a sense of wonder. However, Buddhist wisdom teaches us to observe this phenomenon without attachment. Just as emotions arise and fade, the intensity of attraction is also impermanent. Clinging to these signs can create unnecessary expectations and suffering. Imagine you are sitting with someone you deeply care about, sharing a moment of laughter or meaningful conversation. In that instant, their eyes seem to light up, their pupils widen, and there's an undeniable sense of warmth and connection. You feel seen, appreciated, even cherished. However, if you were to chase this reaction, seeking constant affirmation through their gaze, you might find yourself caught in an endless cycle of craving and disappointment. Buddhist teachings remind us that while these moments are beautiful, they are also transient. The more we cling to external signs of affection, the more we become dependent on them for happiness. True peace comes from embracing each moment without grasping at it. The eyes, as reflections of inner truth, offer us a chance to be present and appreciate connection in its purest form. If someone's pupils dilate when they look at you, take it as a fleeting moment of beauty, something to acknowledge, but not something to hold on to. Just as the moon reflects light without trying to possess it, we too can appreciate the warmth of another's gaze without becoming attached to it. Buddhism teaches that attachment leads to suffering. If we become too fixated on signs of love or attraction, we risk losing sight of the deeper, more stable forms of connection that arise from understanding, respect, and inner peace. Instead of searching for validation in someone else's eyes, we can learn to cultivate a steady, loving presence within ourselves, one that does not waver with external circumstances. The next time you notice someone's eyes shining when they look at you, smile, appreciate the moment, and then let it go. Love, like light, is meant to be shared freely, not grasped or possessed. Number 6, he laughs at your jokes, the deeper meaning behind shared laughter in Buddhism. Laughter is often seen as a simple reaction to humor, but in reality it carries profound meaning, especially in the context of relationships and spiritual connections. When someone laughs at your jokes, it is more than just a polite response or an appreciation of wit. It is a shared moment of joy, a sign of an open heart, and a reflection of deep human connection. From a Buddhist perspective, joy mudita is one of the 4 sublime states, Brahma Viharas, and an essential quality of a compassionate and awakened mind. Laughter is not just about amusement, it signifies a meeting of minds and hearts. When a person genuinely laughs at your jokes, it means they are receptive to you, engaged in the moment, and comfortable enough to let go of their inhibitions. In Buddhism, being present in the moment is a crucial aspect of mindfulness, sati. Genuine laughter requires presence. One must listen, understand, and appreciate the humor in real time. This kind of deep presence fosters authentic connections, which are essential for meaningful relationships. In Buddhism, joy is a powerful force that opens the heart and brings people together. Unlike fleeting pleasure, which is tied to external circumstances, true joy is an inner quality that arises from a heart free of clinging and aversion. When someone laughs with you, they are momentarily free from worries, judgment, and attachment. This mirrors the Buddhist teaching that a lighthearted, joyful mind is closer to enlightenment than one burdened by excessive seriousness or attachment to suffering. Mudita, or sympathetic joy, teaches us to take delight in the happiness of others. When someone laughs at your jokes, they are experiencing a form of mudita. They are celebrating a shared moment of happiness with you. This mutual appreciation strengthens bonds and nurtures a sense of belonging, which is crucial in both personal relationships and spiritual practice. An open heart is one that is unburdened by fear, resentment, or excessive self-consciousness. In relationships, laughter is a sign that one feels safe, understood, and free to express themselves without fear of judgment. In Buddhism, an open heart is a doorway to loving kindness, metta, and compassion, karuna. When someone laughs at your jokes, they are not only expressing joy, but also signaling a willingness to connect with you on a deeper level. In contrast, when someone is closed off, they may struggle to find joy in shared moments. This could be due to emotional barriers, stress, or an inability to be present. By fostering an environment of lightheartedness and acceptance, we help others open their hearts and cultivate a sense of ease, both for themselves and for those around them. Many Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of not taking life too seriously. While suffering exists, so does joy, and embracing both is key to a balanced life. Zen Buddhism, in particular, often uses humor as a tool for awakening. Many Zen koans, paradoxical riddles, provoke laughter as a way of breaking through rigid thinking and encouraging a direct experience of reality. A teacher once asked his students, "Why do bodhisattvas have big smiles?" The answer, because they understand the joke of existence. This reflects the idea that enlightenment is not a state of solemn detachment, but one of joyful awareness. Laughing at life's absurdities, at our own mistakes, and even at the ego's constant grasping, can be a form of spiritual liberation. In this way, when someone laughs at your jokes, they are engaging in a small but meaningful moment of awakening, a moment where the weight of the world is momentarily lifted, and pure joy is allowed to arise. If laughter and joy are signs of an open heart, how can we cultivate more of them in our lives? Here are a few Buddhist-inspired ways to nurture joy and connection. Practice mindful presence. When engaging with others, truly listen and be present. Joyful moments arise naturally when people feel heard and valued. Embrace playfulness. Life doesn't have to be so serious. Playfulness and humor can break down barriers and create warmth in relationships. Cultivate gratitude. Recognizing the small moments of joy, like someone laughing at your joke, helps deepen appreciation for life's simple pleasures. Share joy without attachment. It's easy to seek validation through laughter, but true joy comes from sharing, not expecting. Let go of needing a response and simply enjoy the act of bringing joy to others. Laugh at yourself. Self-deprecating humor, without self-criticism, is a sign of wisdom. It shows humility, acceptance, and a lighthearted approach to life's ups and downs. When someone laughs at your jokes, it is more than just a fleeting moment of amusement. It is a reflection of joy, openness, and human connection. In Buddhism, these moments are not trivial. They are glimpses of a heart unburdened, a mind at ease, and a soul in harmony with the present. By embracing joy and laughter, we not only deepen our relationships, but also cultivate a spirit of lightness that brings us closer to true wisdom and compassion. Number 8, he gets nervous around you. Attraction often triggers vulnerability, a key lesson in self-awareness. When someone gets nervous around you, especially in a romantic or admiration-based context, it's often a sign of attraction. This reaction is deeply rooted in human psychology and serves as an important lesson in self-awareness. Understanding why this happens can help both the person experiencing the nervousness and the one observing it gain deeper insight into emotions, social behavior, and even their own sense of self-worth. Attraction is a powerful force that can make even the most confident individuals feel vulnerable. This vulnerability stems from a mix of excitement, fear of rejection, and a heightened desire to make a good impression. When someone is attracted to another person, their brain releases a cocktail of neurotransmitters such as dopamine, oxytocin, and adrenaline. These chemicals can lead to increased heart rate, sweaty palms, fidgeting, and even speech difficulties. In many cases, this nervousness is subconscious. A person might not even be fully aware of why they suddenly feel anxious in someone's presence. Their body is simply responding to the heightened emotional state that attraction brings. This is a natural and common reaction, but for those who experience it, understanding what's happening can lead to greater self-awareness and emotional intelligence. One of the most overlooked aspects of attraction is the vulnerability it brings. When you like someone, you open yourself up to the possibility of rejection, judgment, or disappointment. This fear can be paralyzing for some people, causing them to act nervous, stumble over their words, or even avoid eye contact. For individuals who are usually composed and self-assured, experiencing nervousness around someone they admire can be unsettling. It forces them to confront their own insecurities and self-doubts. This moment of vulnerability is an important lesson in self-awareness because it highlights areas where one might need to build confidence or emotional resilience. If you notice that someone gets nervous around you, it can be an opportunity to practice self-awareness from another perspective. Instead of brushing off their nervous behavior or misinterpreting it as disinterest, take a moment to reflect on what their reaction might indicate. Are they afraid of saying the wrong thing? Do they admire or respect you in a way that makes them hesitant? Is their nervousness a reflection of their past experiences with rejection or insecurity? By paying attention to these subtle cues, you not only gain a deeper understanding of their emotions, but also cultivate empathy. You begin to see beyond their nervousness and recognize the underlying emotions at play: fear, excitement, admiration, or even deep longing. Building confidence in vulnerable moments. For those who find themselves getting nervous around someone they're attracted to, practicing self-awareness can be a game changer. Recognizing that nervousness is a natural response and learning to manage it can lead to greater self-confidence. Here are a few ways to handle nervousness. 1. Acknowledge your feelings. Instead of trying to suppress nervousness, accept it as a normal reaction. The more you acknowledge it, the less power it has over you. 2. Practice mindfulness. Grounding techniques like deep breathing and focusing on the present moment can help calm nerves. 3. Shift focus. Instead of worrying about how you're being perceived, shift your focus to the other person. Listen actively and engage in the conversation rather than overanalyzing your own behavior. 4. Develop a growth mindset. See every interaction as a learning experience. Whether it goes well or not, every social exchange teaches you something about yourself. Why this matters in personal growth? Understanding nervousness in attraction isn't just about romantic relationships. It applies to social interactions, career opportunities, and any situation where emotions are heightened. When you become more aware of how vulnerability affects you and others, you cultivate emotional intelligence. This self awareness leads to improved relationships, better communication, and a greater sense of control over your own emotional responses. Instead of fearing nervousness, you begin to see it as a sign of authenticity, proof that something or someone genuinely matters to you. In the end, attraction and nervousness go hand in hand because they expose the raw, unfiltered aspects of human emotion. Learning to navigate these emotions with self awareness is a powerful step toward personal growth and deeper connections with others. Number 9, he always finds ways to be near you. Presence is a form of energy exchange. Have you ever noticed how certain people always seem to gravitate toward you, whether consciously or subconsciously? If someone consistently finds ways to be near you, whether by sitting close, walking beside you, or frequently showing up where you are, it is often a sign of a deep, unspoken connection. Presence is more than just physical proximity. It is a form of energy exchange that influences both individuals involved. Human beings are highly sensitive to energy, even if we don't always recognize it. We are constantly exchanging emotional, mental, and even spiritual vibrations with the people around us. This is why we feel uplifted in the presence of some individuals and drained when around others. When someone continuously seeks your presence, it is not just a random occurrence. It is a reflection of their inner state and the connection they feel with you. They may not always verbalize their feelings, but their actions speak louder than words. Subtle proximity. You may notice that they always find an excuse to be nearby, even if there is no practical reason for it. Frequent encounters. They appear in places where you are, sometimes even unexpectedly. Physical closeness. They tend to sit or closer to you than to others, even in group settings. Synchronizing movements. Without realizing it, they might start matching your pace when walking or mirroring your actions. Why presence matters in relationships. Being in someone's presence is not just about attraction or friendship. It is about energetic alignment. When two people enjoy being near each other, it suggests that their energies resonate on a deeper level. This is why we instinctively seek out the company of those who make us feel safe, comfortable, or inspired. Emotional impact. Their presence can make you feel at ease, happy, or understood. Energetic connection. There is a mutual exchange of unspoken emotions that strengthens the bond. Subconscious affection. Even if words are not spoken, the desire to be close reflects deeper feelings. From a scientific perspective, human interactions are deeply influenced by body language, nonverbal communication, and even subtle electromagnetic fields. Studies have shown that our heartbeats and brain waves synchronize when we share physical space with someone we have a connection with. This phenomenon is often observed in close friends, romantic partners, and even between parents and children. Mirror neurons. These specialized brain cells allow us to subconsciously mimic the emotions and behaviors of those we are close to, creating a sense of unity. Heart coherence. The heart emits an electromagnetic field that can extend several feet from the body, influencing those nearby. Oxytocin release, known as the bonding hormone. Oxytocin is released when we experience closeness with someone, enhancing trust and connection. Recognizing genuine presence versus mere habit. While physical proximity can be a sign of deep interest, it is essential to distinguish between genuine connection and simple routine behavior. Some people naturally gravitate toward familiar faces without necessarily feeling a strong emotional bond. Here's how to tell the difference. Intentional versus accidental presence. Do they go out of their way to be near you, or is it just a coincidence? Genuine interest versus social habit. Do they actively engage with you, or are they simply comfortable being in the same space? Energy exchange versus passive proximity. Do you feel a sense of emotional connection, or is their presence neutral? When someone always finds ways to be near you, it is not just about attraction. It is about the energy exchange that happens between two people. Whether it is friendship, admiration, or romantic interest, their actions reveal a desire to share space and emotions with you. Understanding this can help you navigate relationships more consciously, recognizing who genuinely values your presence and who may simply be passing through. Energy doesn't lie. Presence is often the loudest form of communication. Number 10, he tries to impress you. True confidence comes from self-contentment, not just external validation. When a man constantly tries to impress you, it may seem flattering at first. He might dress impeccably, boast about his achievements, or go out of his way to showcase his talents. While some of these actions can be genuine expressions of admiration or affection, they often stem from a deeper need for external validation rather than true confidence. Real self-assurance doesn't rely on proving oneself to others. It is rooted in self-contentment and inner peace. Why do people seek to impress others? Many people feel the need to impress others because they equate external approval with self-worth. Society often conditions individuals, especially men, to believe that their value is measured by their success, wealth, strength, or intelligence. As a result, some men feel compelled to highlight these aspects when they're interested in someone romantically. This can manifest in various ways: boasting about accomplishments, constantly bringing up career successes, expensive possessions, or personal achievements, overcompensating with grand gestures, going out of their way to show generosity, such as extravagant gifts or overly dramatic romantic acts, seeking validation through humor or wit, cracking jokes or making intellectual remarks to seem more appealing, changing behavior based on who's watching, acting differently when around a specific person, often exaggerating traits they think will be impressive. While these behaviors aren't inherently bad, they become problematic when they stem from insecurity rather than confidence. The difference between true confidence and the need to impress. There is a stark contrast between a man who is truly confident and one who feels the need to impress others. A self-assured man doesn't need to prove himself because he is secure in his abilities and character. He acknowledges his strengths, but doesn't feel the need to showcase them constantly. His sense of self-worth isn't dependent on how others perceive him. A man seeking validation relies on external approval. He may become anxious or frustrated if his efforts to impress go unnoticed. His confidence fluctuates depending on whether he receives praise or admiration. He may focus more on appearing successful rather than actually feeling fulfilled. He can admit his weaknesses and doesn't shy away from discussing failures or struggles. He understands that real relationships are built on authenticity, not just curated perfection. He doesn't pretend to be someone he's not just to gain favor. A man seeking to impress often avoids authenticity. He may exaggerate his successes and hide his failures. He fears that showing vulnerability will make him seem less attractive or desirable. He may engage in superficial interactions rather than forming deep, meaningful connections. True confidence arises from self-contentment, being at peace with oneself regardless of external recognition. A man who is content with himself doesn't feel the need to seek approval from others because he finds fulfillment from within. Self-contentment means being happy with who you are, accepting both strengths and flaws, pursuing personal growth for yourself, not for approval, working on self-improvement because it aligns with personal values, not because it will impress others, not letting others' opinions dictate self-worth, understanding that external validation is fleeting and unreliable, finding joy in life beyond external recognition, engaging in activities, passions, and relationships that bring genuine happiness rather than seeking status. When a man embodies these qualities, his confidence feels effortless. He doesn't need to perform or constantly seek admiration because his energy naturally draws people in. People are naturally attracted to those who are comfortable in their own skin, not those who desperately seek to prove their worth. What this means for relationships. If you notice that someone is trying too hard to impress you, it's important to look beyond the surface. Ask yourself, is he being authentic, or is he putting on a show? Does he seem comfortable with himself, or does he crave validation? Is he engaging in meaningful conversations, or is he just trying to be impressive? A truly confident partner will not feel the need to constantly highlight his achievements. Instead, he will focus on building a genuine connection. He will be present, listen attentively, and engage in meaningful discussions rather than just talking about himself. He will make you feel valued, not because he's trying to impress you, but because he genuinely appreciates you. On the other hand, if someone constantly seeks validation, it may indicate deeper insecurities. While it's possible to grow and develop self-confidence over time, relationships built on external validation can become exhausting. You may find yourself in a dynamic where you need to constantly reassure them, which can lead to an imbalance in emotional energy. Confidence isn't about proving oneself, it's about knowing oneself. When a man is truly confident, he doesn't need to impress you. His presence, actions, and authenticity naturally speak for themselves. Instead of focusing on external approval, he focuses on being the best version of himself. If you're looking for a fulfilling and meaningful relationship, seek someone who is secure in themselves, not someone who constantly seeks to prove their worth. True confidence is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in self-contentment, not in the need for validation from others. Number 11, he playfully teases you. Lightheartedness is good, but always observe whether it comes from respect. Playful teasing is a common way people express affection, establish rapport, and create a sense of connection. It's often seen in friendships, family relationships, and romantic dynamics. When a man playfully teases you, it can be an indication that he feels comfortable around you and enjoys your company. However, while teasing can be fun and lighthearted, it's essential to observe whether it stems from genuine affection and respect, or whether it crosses the line into something hurtful or disrespectful. 1. The positive side of playful teasing. Playful teasing is often a sign of emotional closeness. When someone teases you in a lighthearted and affectionate way, it can create a fun and flirty atmosphere. In romantic relationships, playful teasing can add excitement and keep interactions engaging. It's a way of flirting that allows both people to laugh and enjoy each other's presence. Build a stronger bond. People often tease those they feel comfortable with. If he teases you, it might be his way of expressing affection and deepening your connection. Showcase emotional intelligence. Playful teasing requires a certain level of emotional intelligence. If he knows how to make you laugh without making you feel bad, it indicates that he understands social cues and your comfort level. Encourage lightheartedness. Life can be stressful, and a little teasing can help lighten the mood, relieve tension, and bring joy to the relationship. For example, if he jokingly teases you about your coffee addiction by saying, "Do you have a secret deal with a coffee shop? You should own shares by now," and both of you laugh about it, that's a sign of playful affection. 2. When teasing becomes problematic. While teasing can be a sweet and fun way to interact, it's important to pay attention to the intent behind it. Sometimes, what seems like playful teasing can actually be a masked form of criticism, control, or disrespect. Here are some red flags to watch for. It feels like an insult disguised as a joke. If his teasing frequently makes you feel insecure or embarrassed rather than amused, it may not be coming from a place of affection. He ignores your discomfort. Respectful teasing acknowledges boundaries. If you express that a particular joke makes you uncomfortable and he continues to make the same comments, it's a sign of disregard for your feelings. There's an element of control or superiority. Some people use teasing as a way to assert dominance in a relationship. If his jokes make you feel belittled or inferior, that's a red flag. It's constant and unbalanced. If he teases you regularly, but doesn't appreciate being teased in return, it could indicate that he enjoys making fun of you rather than engaging in mutual playfulness. For example, if he constantly makes fun of your appearance, habits, or intelligence under the pretense of just joking, but you feel self-conscious or hurt, his teasing may not be as innocent as it seems. Hash 3. How to differentiate respectful teasing from hurtful teasing. The key to determining whether teasing is healthy lies in context, tone, and your feelings. Here's how you can differentiate. Context. Playful teasing in a fun, lighthearted setting where both parties are laughing is different from teasing that happens when you're feeling vulnerable. Tone. A teasing remark with a warm, playful tone is usually harmless, whereas a sarcastic or condescending tone may indicate hidden criticism. Your feelings. Do you feel good after he teases you? Does it make you laugh? Or do you feel insecure and humiliated? Your emotions are important indicators of whether his teasing is rooted in respect. Shut 4. Setting boundaries with teasing. If teasing ever makes you uncomfortable, it's important to communicate your feelings clearly. Here's how you can set boundaries. Use humor to redirect the teasing. If you enjoy teasing but want to set limits, you can playfully tease back or change the subject in a lighthearted way. Be honest and direct. If a particular type of teasing bothers you, let him know. For example, I know you're joking, but that actually makes me feel uncomfortable. Observe his reaction. A person who genuinely cares about you will respect your feelings and adjust their behavior accordingly. If he dismisses your concerns or continues teasing despite your discomfort, that's a sign of deeper issues. 5. Conclusion. Respect matters. Most playful teasing can be a wonderful part of a relationship, adding humor, playfulness, and emotional closeness. However, it should always come from a place of respect and mutual enjoyment. If teasing ever makes you feel bad, it's essential to speak up and observe whether he respects your boundaries. A healthy relationship is built on kindness, empathy, and understanding. So while laughter is important, respect is non-negotiable. Number 12, he compliments you subtly. Sincere appreciation is different from flattery. Buddhism values honesty. And in the world of human interactions, compliments play a significant role in fostering relationships, boosting confidence, and expressing gratitude. However, Buddhism teaches that not all compliments are equal. There is a fine line between sincere appreciation and empty flattery. Understanding this distinction is essential for living with mindfulness, integrity, and authenticity. Sincere appreciation arises from genuine recognition of someone's qualities, efforts, or actions. It is honest, heartfelt, and free from ulterior motives. When a person compliments you subtly, they are not trying to manipulate you or gain your favor. Rather, they are acknowledging something they truly admire about you. This aligns with Buddhist principles of honesty, sakka, and right speech, samavata, which encourage truthfulness, kindness, and meaningful communication. For example, imagine a friend who tells you, I really admire the way you handle difficult situations with patience. This is a sincere compliment because it reflects an authentic observation about your character. It does not exaggerate or seek personal gain. Instead, it uplifts you in a way that encourages self-growth and confidence. Buddhism teaches that recognizing and expressing gratitude for the goodness in others strengthens positive relationships and cultivates metta, loving kindness. When someone appreciates you sincerely, they are acknowledging your inner virtues, rather than focusing solely on superficial aspects like appearance or status. Flattery, on the other hand, is excessive, insincere praise often used for personal gain. It is rooted in deception and attachment to worldly benefits, such as approval, power, or material rewards. A person who flatters may say things they do not truly believe, exaggerate compliments, or use praise as a tool to manipulate others. For example, someone might say, "You are the smartest person I've ever met. No one compares to you," even when they do not truly think so. This kind of flattery can create an illusion of superiority, inflate the ego, and lead to attachment to external validation. Buddhism warns against such behavior because it goes against the principle of right speech, which should be truthful and beneficial rather than deceptive or misleading. Flattery also fosters a sense of dependence on others' opinions. When people become attached to praise, they may seek constant validation, leading to insecurity and suffering. The Buddhist path encourages individuals to cultivate self-awareness and inner contentment rather than relying on external approval. Why Buddhism emphasizes honesty in speech. In Buddhism, speech is a powerful tool that can either uplift or harm others. The Noble Eightfold Path includes right speech, which consists of 4 key principles. 1. Speaking truthfully, avoiding lies and deceit. 2. Speaking kindly, using words that promote harmony and goodwill. 3. Speaking beneficially, saying things that help and support others. 4. Speaking at the right time, knowing when to speak and when silence is more appropriate. Subtle and sincere compliments align with these principles because they are truthful, kind, and beneficial. They provide encouragement without fostering attachment or pride. In contrast, flattery violates the principle of right speech because it is deceptive and often driven by selfish intentions. Buddhism teaches the middle path, which encourages balance in all aspects of life, including communication. This means that while it is good to express appreciation for others, it should be done in a mindful and genuine way. At the same time, one should also learn to receive compliments with humility and detachment, without becoming overly attached to praise or dependent on others' validation. When you receive a sincere compliment, acknowledge it with gratitude, but do not let it inflate your ego. Similarly, when offering praise, do so from a place of truthfulness and kindness, rather than seeking favor or approval. By practicing mindful communication, we foster relationships built on trust and authenticity, rather than superficial praise and manipulation. True appreciation, given with sincerity, has the power to uplift, inspire, and strengthen bonds between people, reflecting the deep wisdom of Buddhist teachings. Number 13, he remembers small details about you. Mindfulness in relationships means truly listening. In the fast-paced world we live in, where distractions are everywhere and people often rush through conversations without fully engaging, someone who remembers small details about you stands out. This simple yet profound act is a sign of mindfulness, genuine care, and emotional investment in the relationship. When a person pays attention to the little things, your favorite coffee order, the way you like your blanket folded, or a story you told weeks ago, it reflects their ability to be fully present with you. This quality is essential for deepening connections and fostering meaningful relationships. Mindfulness in relationships, the art of truly listening. At its core, mindfulness is about being fully engaged in the present moment without judgment or distraction. In relationships, this means actively listening, remembering, and responding with thoughtfulness. Unfortunately, in modern society, many people engage in half listening. They may hear the words but don't truly absorb the meaning behind them. They might be scrolling through their phones while nodding absent-mindedly, or thinking about their response before the other person has even finished speaking. In contrast, when someone truly listens, they make you feel seen and valued. They don't just remember the grand events like birthdays or anniversaries. They remember the small, seemingly insignificant things. The book you mentioned wanting to read, your favorite childhood memory, or the way you scrunch your nose when you're deep in thought. These details are not just stored in their memory, but also influence how they interact with you in everyday life. Why do small details matter? 1. They show genuine interest. Remembering small details is a strong indicator that someone genuinely values you. If a person consistently recalls things you've said, it means they are actively engaged in your conversations, not just passively participating. This level of attentiveness signals emotional investment and care. 2. They strengthen emotional bonds. In any relationship, romantic, familial, or platonic, small gestures based on remembered details create moments of connection. If your friend recalls that you love a specific type of tea and surprises you with it, or if your partner remembers a place you once mentioned wanting to visit and plans a trip there, these acts deepen your emotional bond. 3. They build trust and security. When someone remembers details about you, it reassures you that you are important to them. This fosters trust, making you feel safe and valued in the relationship. In contrast, forgetting important aspects of a person's life can make them feel insignificant or overlooked. Number 4, they reflect emotional intelligence. Being mindful of small details is a sign of emotional intelligence. People with high emotional intelligence understand that relationships thrive on understanding, empathy, and attentiveness. They recognize that the little things, like knowing how you take your coffee or remembering a tough day at work, can make a big difference. How to cultivate mindfulness in relationships. 1. Practice active listening. Make eye contact and focus entirely on the person speaking. Avoid distractions like your phone or thinking about what to say next. Repeat or rephrase what they've said to confirm understanding. 2. Be present in conversations. Treat each conversation as a moment of connection, rather than just an exchange of words. Show engagement through nodding, appropriate facial expressions, and verbal affirmations. 3. Make note of important details. If you struggle with remembering small things, jot them down in a notes app. Mentally categorize details that matter, such as preferences, past experiences, and future aspirations. 4. Show thoughtfulness in daily interactions. Surprise your loved ones with small gestures based on what they've shared. Bring up past conversations to show that you remember and value their words. Mindfulness in relationships isn't about grand romantic gestures or extravagant gifts. It's about being truly present. When someone remembers the small details about you, it shows they genuinely care, listen, and value your presence in their life. These small acts of attentiveness build strong emotional foundations, deepen trust, and create lasting connections. In a world filled with distractions, truly listening to someone is one of the most meaningful gifts you can give. Number 14, Jack, he acts differently around you. Awareness changes behavior. When someone starts acting differently around you, it can be a strong indication of their truth. Change in behavior can be subtle or noticeable, depending on the person and the situation. Understanding these shifts can provide deep insight into their emotions and intentions. But the key question to ask is, does he act more authentic or less? This distinction is crucial because it reveals whether he is comfortable being himself with you or if he is putting on a mask. Let's explore this idea further by breaking it down into different aspects of human behavior and psychology. Measure 1. The science behind behavioral changes. People naturally adjust their behavior in different social contexts. This is part of a psychological phenomenon called impression management, where individuals modify their actions to fit in or influence how others perceive them. When a man acts differently around you, it could stem from self-consciousness. He is aware of your presence and wants to make a good impression. Emotional influence. His feelings for you affect how he behaves. Social mirroring. He unconsciously mimics your behavior, indicating a subconscious connection. Fear of rejection. If he likes you but is unsure of your feelings, he might act more reserved or nervous. Understanding the underlying reasons behind his behavior will help you determine if his actions reflect genuine interest or an attempt to project a certain image. However, 2. Signs he acts more authentic around you. If he feels comfortable being himself, it's a strong sign that he trusts and values your presence. Here's what to look for. He shares his real thoughts and emotions. He isn't afraid to express his opinions even if they differ from yours. His body language is open and relaxed. He maintains good eye contact, leans in when talking, and has a natural posture around you. He is consistent in his actions. Whether you're alone or with a group, he doesn't change his personality or try too hard to impress. He engages in deeper conversations. He enjoys discussing meaningful topics rather than just surface-level small talk. He lets his guard down. He shows his quirks, jokes freely, and doesn't hide his true nature. These behaviors indicate that he values authenticity over performance, which is a great sign of a genuine connection. 3. Signs he acts less authentic around you. On the flip side, if he seems to change drastically when you're around, it could mean he's feeling pressure to impress or hide his true self. Signs of inauthenticity include: he acts overly confident or boastful. He exaggerates his achievements or tries too hard to be impressive. His personality shifts depending on who's around. He behaves one way when it's just the two of you, but completely different in a group setting. He avoids deep conversations. He keeps interactions light and superficial, possibly because he fears revealing too much. His energy is inconsistent. Sometimes he seems warm and engaged, other times cold and distant, as if he's unsure how to act. He seems nervous or fidgety. If he constantly adjusts his clothes, avoids eye contact, or stumbles over his words, he may be overthinking his every move. While some nervousness is normal, especially if he likes you, consistent inauthenticity can be a red flag that he's not comfortable being himself. Hasher 4. What should you do? If you notice a significant change in his behavior around you, the best approach is to observe without judgment and give him space to feel comfortable. Here's what you can do. Encourage authenticity. Show him that he doesn't need to put on an act to impress you. Create a relaxed environment. Engage in casual, lighthearted conversations to ease any tension. Be authentic yourself. Your own openness can encourage him to drop his guard. Ask meaningful questions. If he avoids deep conversations, gently steer discussions toward personal interests and values. Trust your intuition. If something feels off, pay attention to your instincts. Over time, his behavior will reveal whether he truly enjoys being around you or if he is struggling to be himself. The most important thing is to value genuine connections over forced interactions. A change in behavior around you is always worth noting, but the real question is whether that change is a sign of comfort or discomfort. If he feels safe to be himself, that's a great indicator of trust and interest. However, if he seems to be putting on a persona, it could mean he is unsure of himself or even hiding something. At the end of the day, relationships built on authenticity and mutual understanding are the ones that last. Pay attention, be patient, and let his true self unfold naturally. Number 15, he doesn't want the conversation to end. A genuine connection makes time feel effortless. Have you ever had a conversation with someone where time seemed to disappear? Where each word flowed naturally, laughter came easily, and there was an unspoken desire to keep talking, even when the night grew late? This is a sign of a deep and genuine connection, one that goes beyond mere politeness or surface level small talk. When a man doesn't want the conversation to end, it's a clear indication that he enjoys your presence, values your thoughts, and feels a special kind of chemistry with you. Some conversations feel forced, where every sentence is met with awkward silence and both parties struggle to find the next topic. But then there are those rare and magical exchanges where words flow naturally, curiosity is mutual, and neither person wants to say goodbye. When a man experiences this effortless dynamic, he becomes drawn to the connection, often without even realizing it. This happens because true connection is not just about the words spoken, but about the emotions exchanged. A meaningful conversation engages the heart, the mind, and even the soul. It makes both people feel seen, heard, and understood, which is why it's so powerful. Why he doesn't want the conversation to end. If a man is prolonging a conversation with you, it often means he is deeply interested. But why? Here are a few reasons. 1. He feels a strong emotional connection. When someone resonates with us on a deep level, it creates an emotional bond. If he lingers in the conversation, asks follow-up questions, and shows genuine enthusiasm, he is likely enjoying the emotional connection that the conversation brings. 2. He's intrigued by you. A man who keeps the conversation going is someone who finds you fascinating. Whether it's your thoughts, your humor, or your unique perspective, something about you is capturing his attention, and he doesn't want to let it go. 3. He's comfortable and at ease. In a world where many interactions feel transactional or forced, finding someone with whom conversation feels natural is rare. If he doesn't want to stop talking, it could mean he feels completely at ease with you, which is a sign of true compatibility. 3. He's attracted to you. While attraction isn't solely about words, engaging conversations are a huge part of what makes people fall for each other. A man who prolongs a conversation may subconsciously be drawn to your presence, hoping to spend more time with you. 4. He wants to know more about you. Curiosity is a telltale sign of interest. If he keeps asking about your opinions, experiences, and dreams, it's because he genuinely wants to learn more about you beyond just the surface level details. 5. He feels happy in your presence. Conversations with the right person can feel uplifting and energizing. If he's smiling, laughing, and fully engaged, he's probably enjoying your presence so much that he doesn't want it to end. Signs he's truly engaged. If you're unsure whether he's truly engaged, here are some clear signs to look for. He asks deep, meaningful questions. He maintains eye contact and leans in when you speak. He actively listens and remembers details from earlier in the conversation. He finds ways to extend the conversation, even when it seems like it's about to end. He laughs often and reacts emotionally to your stories. He suggests continuing the conversation later, either by calling, texting, or meeting up again. How to nurture the connection. If you're also enjoying the conversation and want it to continue, you can nurture this connection by being present. Give him your full attention and engage deeply in the moment. Asking thoughtful questions. Show curiosity about his experiences, dreams, and passions. Sharing personal stories. Vulnerability creates deeper bonds and invites trust. Keeping a playful and lighthearted attitude. Laughter makes conversations enjoyable and keeps the connection strong. Encouraging future conversations. If you want to keep talking, Suggest a follow-up, like grabbing coffee or continuing the discussion another time. When a man doesn't want the conversation to end, it's because something about it feels special to him. It could be emotional connection, intellectual stimulation, or simply the joy of being in your presence. In any case, this is a beautiful sign of chemistry, one that should be cherished and explored. So if you find yourself in one of those effortless, flowing conversations where time disappears, embrace it. These moments are rare, and they often mark the beginning of something meaningful. Attraction is a natural and powerful force, yet Buddhism teaches us to observe it with awareness rather than become entangled in attachment. When we feel drawn to someone, it is important to ask ourselves, what is the nature of this attraction? Is it fleeting, based on physical desire and transient emotions, or does it stem from a deeper sense of connection and shared values? Mindfulness helps us recognize the difference. Temporary attraction, driven by the ego, can lead to suffering when expectations are not met or when attachment turns into clinging. On the other hand, a connection built on mutual understanding, respect, and inner harmony fosters spiritual growth and true companionship. By practicing mindfulness, we can approach relationships with clarity, appreciating the present moment without grasping or projecting unrealistic desires onto others. Ultimately, attraction is not something to be suppressed, but rather something to be understood with wisdom. Through self-awareness and mindful reflection, we cultivate healthier relationships, ones that bring joy, peace, and deeper fulfillment. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching Buddhist Mindfulness. May your journey be filled with awareness and compassion.